Virtual jams one-on-one, you'll trade leads back and forth with the video. We'll take the first lead and then trade till the end of the song, which is played a total of 3 times through. That's 3 leads each. To keep things interesting, we challenge you to play a different kind of solo each time. We're going to use the following 3 approaches, and we recommend you do the same. A melody-based solo, always a good way to start. An upper neck break showing off our partial scales and inversions. Lastly, a cross-picking arrangement. Disclaimer: one-on-one virtual jams assume that you already know the chords and melody to this song. If you don't, please consider taking a lesson on Whiskey Before Breakfast first. Info at the end of this video. Study section. After the jam, we will break down all the techniques we used in our leads and give you a list of lessons that teach each of these. This way you will be way better the next time you jam. After a 4-beat intro, we'll take the first break and then throw it to you, then back and forth. Okay, so in that first solo, we just pretty much stayed in the open D position, playing out of the basic Do, Re, Mi, and D. And on occasion, we would move up to sort of a partial E minor scale up here, same as the G scale. All right, and then for that second part, we were playing out of partial D positions. Sliding up to the E for the E minor. And when you're in open D on flat pick guitar, we have a lot of really cool scale patterns. That we can take advantage of. So we were throwing a lot of those in there as well. Other than that, it was a pretty much straightforward open D rendition of the melody, staying about behind the 5th fret in most parts. Now for that second rendition, we were playing out of that 7th fret rooted scale. So sort of a D major pentatonic hybrid that starts here on that D on the 7th fret on the 3rd string. And it has a lot of room for outlining the melody without getting too far afield from that position. So a lot of the song can be had generally between that 7th and 10th frets from that D scale played up in that area. Then for the second part, of course, we had to morph up to what's basically the F-shaped D up here with the root on the D string at the 12th fret. And that gives us that higher register we need to also prepare for that E minor phrase, which is kind of cheating because then we use some open strings to pivot back to that walk down. So we might be something like, and then here with the pattern going back down. And so on and so forth. So that's how that was treated. And then for the second part, when we're coming back down, we were trying to target generally landing on this D at the middle of the neck, so we could legally be considered an up the neck break all the while. And then climbing up, and E minor. And then of course that pattern. And all of that fits nicely between the 7th and essentially 12th frets. For the last version, we were doing hybrid cross-picking, meaning we weren't using full bass-rooted positions or even full chord shapes. We were doing sort of partial chords, like this partial D over here. And then maybe the G, we were getting a partial G in the F position. Nice D with the F sharp bass, and sometimes we can either do the A here or here, but the point is we have this nice rolling sound. And then for the second part, we can mess around with this partial bar, and then for the E minor, a lot of times we were going from this shape here, which is a really nice E minor shape. Not played a lot in flat picking, but it's basically, you can think of it as that D minor with the F in the bass moved up 2 frets. And that works really nice to get us into a shape for our A that follows that D minor. So for the second part, you could do something like this, cross picking that D partial, sliding in, and then we are doing this classic walk down from the D shape, the partial A, G to B, and then up at the end of the song, we can use that classic riff there as well. Giving us a lot of melody and still the sonority created by the combination of open strings and fretted notes. open scales in all keys, scale patterns for fancy improvisation, upper neck partial scales, playing out of partial chords, position shifting, and hybrid crosspicking, partial chords, chord inversions, arpeggios, or order a custom e-lesson on whatever you want. Join the jam!